Greetings, mighty companions. Anna Kujawa here, and we are doing Course in Miracles like we always do on Mondays. But first, we start our class with an opening meditation. So first, we're going to close our eyes and take a breath, and we're going to just breathe and just allow our minds to come back home to the present moment. We're going to invite our minds to come back home to the precious, priceless, present moment now, allowing our minds to rest, drawing our minds out of the past and drawing our minds out of the future, telling our minds it is safe to relax. Here, now, breathing, now, present. This is our opportunity to remember now, to allow our minds and our brains and our bodies to just rest. Rest from planning. We make our brains and our minds and our bodies work so hard to judge, to figure things out, to plan, to defend. Now let's allow our minds to do nothing but be present and to rest in love. How do you suppose your mind might feel at rest? No need to do. No need to judge, no need to plan, no need to defend, but a mind at rest. And breathe. Course in Miracles teaches us to rest our minds with this idea. I need do nothing right now. I need do nothing. So let's practice that healing of realizing I need do nothing. It's already all done. All the love, it's already done. All the truth, it's already all done. All the love, it's everywhere. All the love, it's already been accomplished. All the good, it's all been accomplished. All we need do is nothing but accept what's already here, now, and forever, already accomplished. I need do nothing but rest in the reality of the love that is eternal. I need do nothing. Everything I am, everything you are, has already been accomplished and accomplished forever. You are now who you have always been and whom you will become. You are everything now. So for a moment, we breathe and we rest and we let the truth be true. You are only love. You have only been love, and you will only become love. And so there's nothing else you need to do but rest in that and enjoy. And breathe. I am that I am. This is how we allow our minds to rest. And when our minds rest, our bodies can rest and heal. And when our minds can rest, our minds rise above fatigue and heal. I need do nothing. You need do nothing. Just take note of what your mind at rest feels like. What does it feel like when your mind isn't frantic? What does it feel like when your mind isn't racing ahead of your body? What does it feel like when your mind isn't trying to protect itself in fear? What does it feel like when your mind takes off the burden of judgment off of itself and lays it down, unnecessary? What does your mind feel like without the burden of judgment? That burden you give yourself thinking you need to judge what's going on or you need to judge yourself. What does it feel like to just let yourself be complete and whole now. Breathe that feeling in, and as you breathe that feeling in, let that feeling set. Let that feeling set in you so that you can access this feeling, this experience again, because you remember it. You remember it, and when you remember it, you can return to it again anytime you need rest, anytime you need healing. The mind at rest is a mind that can heal itself, that can then heal the body, and then heal your life. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, just take another deep breath and begin to bring your awareness back to the room and back to your body. Yawning and stretching and wiggling your fingers and your toes and your nose. Oh, awesome. Okay. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you guys on Facebook. Hey, you. Welcome.
It's my mom.
Oh, hi, Mom. What's your name? Wonderful. What's your name?
Deborah.
Deborah, nice to meet you.
Meg sends her love.
What did you say?
Meg sends
Oh,
her
wonderful. Will you send our love back to her?
love.
Awesome. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for joining in that healing prayer. That's how A Course in Miracles teaches how to heal. The Course in Miracles is a curriculum about healing. This is a healing curriculum. It's all about healing. Healing comes from healing the mind, according to A Course in Miracles. So it starts with the mind. It starts with teaching you how to release yourself from judgment. The judgment that the Course in Miracles calls a burden. Literally, it says judgment is a burden that we have on our back. It makes us walk like this. And it makes us tired, and it makes us angry, and it makes us scared. And it's totally unnecessary, and our judgments are wrong. And so, well, it says it's curious why an ability so debilitating like judgment is so deeply cherished. Judgment is so debilitating. It makes you sick. It makes you angry. It makes you poor. It makes you sick, body, mind, and spirit. And yet we cling to it like I gotta have judgment. And the Course in Miracles says you don't need judgment to organize your life. You don't need to judge things. Well, I know what's going on, and this should be happening like this, and this is what should be happening, and this is what should be happening, and this is what is happening. You don't need judgment to organize your life, the Course says, and you don't need judgment to make yourself safe. Really, safety and healing and peace and joy and aliveness and abundance actually comes when you take the burden of judgment off and you lay it down. You go, I don't know enough to judge. I don't even know my own truth. How am I going to know their truth and the whole truth about what this means? Okay, so that's when you come back to peace and back to sanity and back to a healed mind. A healed mind doesn't need to judge. A healed mind doesn't need to plan as if you could plan for your safety and peace better than love. So that's what healing is all about according to A Course in Miracles. And so A Course in Miracles is over and over just teaching us about how to heal our minds, which automatically heals the body. So on that note, let us hear what the Course in Miracles says about healing. So where we are in the blue book is chapter 14, section 4. Okay. So, and we are starting on paragraph 2. Okay? So, and if you are in the Annotated Edition, it is chapter 14, section 5. And the title of the section in the Annotated Edition is called, okay, so in that edition it's called Your Function in the Atonement. Is that right? Anybody has the, okay.
Yeah.
So in the blue book it's called Your Function in the Atonement. Your function. Okay. And in the Annotated Edition, which I'm reading out of, which is the more original edition, you guys have the more edited version. I'm reading out of the less edited or the unedited version. And the title in this version is called Loving in a Loveless Place. Sounds like a country song. I could just hear the kind of Loving in a Loveless Place, which is your function in the Course in Miracles says the atonement is the healing, there's a plan. There's a healing plan for mankind. Course in Miracles calls it the atonement. Okay? So there is a plan for that, for the healing of mankind, for the minds of man. And A Course in Miracles lays out that plan. Okay? And the healing of the mind of man is very simple. The Course in Miracles says that the healing of our minds comes from the release from guilt. That our minds are sick because somewhere back there a long time ago, someone told us we were guilty and we believed it. And as soon as the idea of guilt and shame came into the mind of man, then the mind of man split. Now our minds are split. And now we feel split from each other, and we feel split from our source. And that was the beginning of the split, the separation, the detour into fear, the fall. Of course, a miracle says it's not when Adam took a bite of the apple because Adam wanted to know something. That's not how it started. Somehow, somewhere, a tiny mad idea entered our mind called, I'm guilty. There's something wrong with me. There's something defective about me. That tiny mad idea crossed the mind of God's creation, and we forgot to laugh at that crazy idea. And that's how this whole dream of guilt and sin and shame and separateness and death and all the things that come from the perception of guilt, which is just the original lie, all came from that. And so this section talks about and saying that it was saying that the first error in the mind of man was guilt. And the healing of the mind of man and the healing of mankind is the ending or the correction of the belief in guilt. Okay? So maybe you don't identify with the feeling or the perception of guilt, but A Course in Miracles is saying that the guilt is just that perception that there's something wrong with me. Can anybody relate to that? Anybody ever have that feeling? Okay, that's any negative feeling that we have is like, oh, there's something wrong with me. A lot of times, though, it comes in the form of, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with them. Okay, maybe you don't identify with that feeling or that perception of guilt, but you can certainly see how you've projected it, into others. So now we judge other people. What's wrong with them? What's their problem? Oh my God. Oh, I'm going to judge their problem. I know what their problem is. Okay? So we may not be aware of that in ourselves, but we sure as heck are aware of it where we project it to others. Okay? So, it's going to talk tonight about this concept of guilt and guiltlessness. Okay? All right. So, and we already did paragraph 1 last week. So, I'm going to start with paragraph 2 and move forward. Okay? So, And I'm going to read a paragraph, and then I'm going to talk about what it's saying, how to apply that, see if there's any questions, and then we go on. That's how we do it. So feel free to ask questions. All right. So everybody see where it is in the book? Okay, you guys, it is chapter 14, section 4 or 5, depending on whether you're in the blue book or the annotated. All right. We're starting in paragraph 2. It says, you who belong to the first cause, that's God, created by God, like God, and part of God, you are more than merely guiltless. So I'm more than merely just guiltless. Okay, what could be more than that? The state of guiltlessness is only the condition in which what is not there has been removed from the disordered or sick mind that thought it was. Okay. So that's just the starting point, the state of guiltlessness. The state of guiltlessness is where the idea of guilt has been removed from the sick mind. Okay? So, got a sick mind. How to get sick? Guilt entered our mind. Sometimes we call it shame. Okay? And once the idea of guilt is removed from the sick mind, now we're at the starting point of who and what you are. Okay? That's just clearing the debris. That's just clearing the debris. That's just the starting point. So you're more than merely guiltless. Okay? It says what? That is just the condition in which what is not there has been removed. Wow. Okay, so what's the goal here? The condition that we're going for? The condition that we're going for is the condition where guilt has been removed from our sick mind. That's the goal. Guiltlessness. I am guiltless. You are guiltless. They are guiltless. I am guiltless. That's the goal here. That is the starting condition from which everything good can come from there. And it says, and this state of guiltlessness, and only this state, must you attain. So our only function is just to get to that state. That's it. To allow the guilt to be removed from our sick minds. Okay? That's our only part. It says, with God beside you, because until you allow the guilt to be removed from your sick mind, you will still think that you are separate from God, God being loving source. Okay? It says you can feel God's presence next to you, but you cannot know that you are one with God. Okay, so it's talking about that state of mind. It's talking about a state of mind. It says, until you've allowed guilt to be removed from your state of mind, from your consciousness, then it says that you will still think that you're separate from God. Very interesting. So, I don't know if you've noticed, but we perceive ourselves as separate from our source. We don't see ourselves as one with our source. There's our source. It's out there somewhere. Out there somewhere far away, and very far away, and this source, God, whatever you call that, maybe it talked to people a long time ago that we called prophets and sages, but that was a long time ago, and you don't do that anymore. He's way out there. It's way out there. We're here. And it says that the reason that we see ourselves as separate from our source is because guilt. Of course, it says you can't have guilt in your mind and know that you're one with source, with God. Okay, very interesting. Now it says, as long as there's guilt in your mind, it says maybe you can feel God's presence beside you, but you can't know that you're one with God. Wow. Oh, that's a thing? I could know that I'm one with God? Now, notice it didn't say, you are God. It said, one with God. Just like my child isn't me, but my child and I are one. My child is one with me. Okay? Same thing with God. But as long as there's guilt in my mind, I will never know. I would never believe. How could I be one with God and I'm defective like this? Okay. So one of the things you can see here that is available for us that we're heading towards is that experience of being one with our source, one with our loving source. Okay? But we can't experience that while there's guilt in our mind. Now notice it said that our only part is just to create the learning conditions. That's it. Okay? Just to create the condition in which the learning that we are one, or the experience that we're one with God, can happen of itself. Okay? All we're responsible for is the learning conditions. Does that make sense? Okay. And then once we've established the learning conditions of allowing the guilt to be removed from our mind, then the experience that we're one with our source comes of itself. Okay? Now, why would that be an awesome, good thing to be able to feel like to be able to experience that you're one with your source? Okay? Why would that be a good thing? Why would that be a good goal? Okay? Why would that be practical? Okay, let's bring it down to practical. Yes, Matt?
Feeling peaceful.
Feeling peaceful.
Feeling like I'm safe and secure in the world.
Exactly. I mean, if you're one with your source, what exactly do you need to be afraid of? If you're one with your source, you're one with all power. You're one with all abundance. You always have what you need whenever you need it. No lack. And if you're one with your source, guess what else you don't have to worry about? Death. Now, can you imagine what your life would be like if you were not afraid of death? What would that be like? The Course in Miracles says that all fear comes because of the belief in death. Okay, so if you know you're one with your source, you're not going to be afraid of any of the things you're afraid of right now. Okay, so knowing that you're one with your source, you're not going to have fear. You're not going to be worried about anything. Be like, I'm good. I'm one with my source. I don't have to worry about lack. I don't have to worry about dying. I don't have to worry about being alone, on my own. I don't have to worry about any of that. And I get to just experience the ecstasy of the experience of fulfillment, completion, lacking nothing, no need, no lack, no fear. Okay, so that's why knowing that you're one with your source is a practical thing. That's the practical value. Okay. Now, but it's saying that we cannot know that we're one with our source while there's guilt in our mind. Because guilt is the idea that I'm unworthy. Guilt is the idea that I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of your love. I'm certainly not worthy of Source's love. That's what guilt is. Guilt says, I am not worthy of love because of fill in the blank. That's what guilt is. It's all the reasons we believe that we don't deserve only love. Okay? Do you believe you deserve only love? If I said to you, do you deserve only love? What would you say? Well, hypothetically, I did until what I did last weekend. Right. I thought I did, after church, but then I went out Saturday night and now I don't feel so worthy of love because, right? So guilt is this, I don't deserve only love because of what I did or what happened or, what I think I am. All right. So, and if you feel guilty and you don't feel like you deserve only love, then for sure you're not going to believe that you deserve the love, the complete love of source, which is only love. Okay? Guilt is a limit on love. How much love you believe you deserve. And of course, in Miracles is saying only guilt is telling you that there is a limit on how much love you deserve. We're the ones saying, well, I don't deserve total love because, you know, right? All right. So, beautiful. Okay. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Pat. Hi, Cindy and Bridget. Lovely to see you guys. All right. So then it says this. It says, this truth that you're one with your loving source doesn't need to be taught. That's not something that you're going to learn through this book. It says learning applies only to the condition in which learning happens of itself. Okay? So our job here, our only purpose is just to set the right learning conditions. Okay? That's our job. That's our only function, is to set the learning conditions in which learning happens of itself.
So is he referring to the unlearning? Is he basically
The
referring to the
learning here it's referring to is the learning that you are one with your source. Okay? So in other words, I don't really have to learn the big truth with the capital T. I don't have to figure that out. All I have to do is clear my mind. All I have to do is allow what is occupying or dirtying or muddying my mind that's keeping the big learning from happening. All I have to do is get rid of that gunk. Okay? And then the learning of the truth will happen of itself. So all I gotta do is allow the guilt to be removed. The guilt to be removed from my mind. And how does that happen? It goes like this. I don't believe that I am guiltless. No way, no how. But something that I trust is telling me that that's the case. Kind of makes sense logically. I'd like to experience a release from guilt. Especially today when I'm feeling ashamed about something, or I'm feeling the pain of feeling that there's something wrong with me, or I'm feeling upset about something. I'm wondering if I'm defective or if there's just something wrong with me. Okay, so that's the pain that we experience. That's the discomfort that we experience. That's the depression we experience. That's the anxiety we experience. It's this like, what is wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. I'm missing something. There's something defective about me. For some reason, I'm not really worthy. I don't really believe I'm worthy of unconditional love. That's guilt. Okay? And so the way we set up the learning condition is we go, I'm willing to allow the guilt to be removed from my mind. I don't know how to do that. Remember, that's not what we have to do. Our function is just to allow it by I'm willing. I'm willing. And we turn to our higher mind, whose job is to release us from guilt, is to release us from the belief. There is no real guilt that we need to be healed of. It's a belief. It's a belief. It's a lie. It's an illusion. It's a mistake that we learned a long time ago and that we just accepted. So it goes like we go to our higher mind and our spiritual teacher and we say, I ask for the correction of my belief in guilt. I ask for the correction of my belief in sin that I learned that is hurting me. It makes me feel not good enough. It makes me feel ashamed. It makes me feel not worthy of love and abundance right now. And we ask the teacher, our healer that is within us, for the correction of that. And then, once we allow that to be removed and we go, well, maybe I'm not guilty. Maybe that guilt was just a mistake. Maybe it's just something I learned. And we allow it to be removed, and then, then the big learning, the big truth happens of itself. And we go, whoa, look, wow. Okay, that's how the healing of the mind, that's how the healing of the sick or disordered mind occurs, according to A Course in Miracles. Now, any questions or comments before we go on? Yes?
So I'm suddenly confused by this. What you're talking about asking for release from guilt, or asking for the correction of conditions that cause guilt,
Yes.
lead to guilt, seems to be different than what's talked about in chapter 2. The correction of fear is your responsibility.
Right, gotcha.
And then when you ask for the release from fear, you're implying that it's not your responsibility.
Right.
So those two things about guilt and fear seem to be, on the face of it,
Right.
different.
In that case, it's like our responsibility is, I am willing to allow that, I'm willing to allow for the correction. I'm not the one who does the correction, but my responsibility is, I got fear and guilt in my mind, it's hurting me, and I am asking for the correction of this.
Okay, so they're really the same.
Right, exactly.
The
really the same.
process is the same.
The process is the same. The Course in Miracles says, if you could undo the guilt and fear in your own mind, then you would have done it already. That's not your job. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is just to say, oh, this is fear and guilt in my mind that is making me feel these negative feelings. And I'm the one who's responsible for the fear and the guilt that's producing this. And I ask higher mind for the correction. Okay? The correction is not your responsibility. The asking, the taking responsibility for what doesn't feel good is mine. And the asking for the correction from a higher mind, which is within us. Okay, so thank you for that. Thank you for that. Hi, Patty. All right, beautiful. Okay, here we go. Paragraph 3. It says, when you have let all that has obscured the truth in your most guiltless, holy means guiltless, mind be undone for you, and you stand in grace before your Creator will give himself to you as your Creator has always done. Giving itself to you as all your Creator knows, and so it is all knowledge. For what Creator knows not cannot be, and therefore cannot be given. So, ask not to be forgiven. So that's not what we're doing. Why? Because forgiving you has already been accomplished. Ask rather how to learn forgiveness. So it's not like, please forgive me for my guilt. It says, don't ask to be forgiven. You've already been forgiven. That's not what we're doing here. It says, ask to learn what forgiveness, ask rather how to learn forgiveness, which means ask to have restored what always was to your unforgiving mind. So, we learned in our religions to be asked for forgiveness. Oh, God, please forgive me. Please forgive me for my guilt, God. In all of our religions. Okay, that's what we learn. Ask to be forgiven as if your guilt is real. This is saying ask to learn how to forgive, which means ask to understand what's already so, what's already been accomplished, which is you never were condemned. Ask to realize, ask to learn what has always been so, which is that you've always been guiltless, you've never been condemned. It never was that your source, your Creator, whatever, has ever condemned you. That was the story. That was the lie that we were fed in the beginning of this dream. That source condemned us. That our Creator condemns. Okay? That's the original lie, the original error. That Creator created us and then condemned us. Bad creation. Bad creation. I condemn thee. You're guilty. And here's a big old rule book for what to do for me to forgive you. Okay. And then now we have religions all built up around that.
To make you feel guilty for being made.
Yes, exactly. That's not one religion, it's a lot of them, unfortunately. You know, the religion, that starting point was you were created by your creator, and your creator condemned you even before you were born. And then a lot and more after you were born. And then here's all these religious books, these what we call holy books, all these rules about how you could beg for forgiveness from your creator, that maybe if you followed all these rules in this big holy book, that maybe your creator might forgive you and let you into heaven. Wow. Well, that's the story of guilt. And of course, A Miracle says it's because of that story, that lie, the original error, that is the reason that earth is the way it is. That's why it's full of the symptoms of separation, disease, disaster, disunity, pain, all of that. It all comes from the belief in condemnation and guilt that supposedly came from our Creator down. Wow. The Course in Miracles says this is the dream of sin and guilt. Okay? So if all those symptoms called disease and disaster and war and death and disunity and pain, if they all came from the original lie called condemnation, then all of those things are healed and corrected when we accept the idea, the truth of our own guiltlessness. That's what this curriculum is all about. That's what this curriculum is all about. If all that we learned in our religions was God condemns and you're guilty and now you need to beg for forgiveness and here's a way to do it, here's all the rules to do it, then the answer is the acceptance of the fact of guiltlessness. So that's why this book was on the top 10 satanic list that was put out originally through the Catholic Church. Course in Miracles was in the top 10 satanic books, as they call them. Because A Course in Miracles offers the exact opposite of all of that theology and all that belief system that's based on condemnation. Whew. Okay? That's why A Course in Miracles is so difficult to accept. Because it says it's not difficult, it's just 100% opposite of what we all learned from the beginning of what we call, human evolution. Wow. Okay? So you can just imagine how much power is in that learning goal. What learning goal? I'm willing to learn that I'm guiltless. I'm willing to learn. I don't believe it at all, and my body and my life and my world shows that, but I'm willing. And that's all I have to do. I have to just accept the conditions in which the learning that I am guiltless will occur of itself. And then, of course, A Miracles is an entire curriculum helping you to use that idea and accept that idea and practice that idea and repeat that idea and use that idea. Okay? Now, and it's going to go, and it goes on to say in the next section that the real way to accept the release from guilt in your own mind so that all the symptoms and signs of guilt can be removed from your body and your life and your relationships. Okay, that's healing. The best way to allow that to happen is to practice seeing other people as guiltless. Practice releasing other people from guilt. Practice releasing other people from guilt. Practice seeing other people as guiltless. That is the way to really accept it, to really get it, is to give it. Wow. Now, how would you like to be in relationships where the purpose of your partner was to release you from guilt? How'd you like that? Does it sound like fun?
Not bad.
That's good. What'd you say?
Not bad.
It's not bad at
I
all.
like it.
Anybody here ever been in relationships where where their partner seemed like their purpose was to make them feel guilty?
First 5 wives.
Okay. John says first 5
6
wives.
on,
6-1. Yes, that's absolutely right. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So the Course in Miracles says that's our function, is to accept the release from condemnation within our own mind and being. Stop condemning yourself. God's not condemning you. Stop condemning yourself. And also to stop condemning others. Stop condemning the creations of God. In this section it says, the only thing that your Creator Source asks of you is that you return its creations, its children, back to it without guilt. You know, just like a parent, you know, would want that others would treat its child lovingly. What's the ultimate gift you can give to a parent? Protect my child. You want to love me? You want to show your gratitude to me the parent? Take care of my child. Don't condemn my child. Don't hurt my child. Return my child back to me safely, without guilt, without any hurt upon my child. And that's what our Creator is saying to us. And that's our function in the healing plan of man. Return back to Source, God's blameless children.
Emotionally or physically.
Emotionally or physically. Exactly. That's our job. To, release God's creations from guilt. Stop punishing. Like God's like, please don't attack my children. If you love me, then don't attack my children. Keep them safe and send them back to me unharmed, okay? That's all our Creator is asking of us. And it's not just a favor we're doing for our Creator. It's the only way that we can experience that unconditional love and eternal life again ourselves. So that's really our function in the plan. Release from guilt. Release others from guilt. Let yourself be released from guilt. That's it. Wow. And luckily we have an entire curriculum teaching us how to do that. And believe me, see how thick this book is? See how thick? See how many pages are in this book? Okay? And this is when it first came out, it was like a stack like this big, you had to have a wheelbarrow to carry them. We've been so conditioned by guilt that it takes a curriculum with this many pages saying the same thing on every single page. Release from guilt, you're not guilty. Release from guilt, you're guiltless. You're innocent. Everyone's guiltless. There is no sin. This is how many pages it takes. And this is that onion paper, thin. This is how deep our conditioning. We've been conditioned for so long about guilt and sin that it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of repetition. It takes a lot of saying it in a lot of different sentences and a lot of different words till the point where we go, oh, do you mean that I'm guiltless? And then we wake up. Oh,
can't stay here long after that.
It is, of course, says once you accept that, exactly.
You won't be here long.
Exactly.
You're still
Exactly.
here, you're still good.
That's right, which means if you're still here, it means, you still need some learning. Learning of what? Guiltlessness.
How guiltless we are.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's possible that I could be guiltless,
Yes.
then it's possible
Exactly.
that you could be guiltless.
Exactly. Exactly. And he says, and if you, only way to accept that is to give it, to release other people from guilt. To release other people from guilt. All right. Okay. It says, so don't ask to be forgiven. You've already been forgiven. What you should ask is to learn, is how to learn forgiveness, which means to learn how to restore what always was to your unforgiving mind. What was always so? My guiltlessness. Why didn't I know it? Because I have an unforgiving mind. And then it says atonement, which means healing, which means release from guilt, becomes real and visible to them that use it. Okay? Course in Miracles says atonement is not, I'm going to atone for my sins. I punish myself so I can atone myself for sins. Atonement is you releasing yourself from guilt by using the practices of guiltlessness on other people. That's how it becomes real to you, by how you use it. Do you use it to release other people from guilt? And it says, on earth, this is your only function. That's it. On earth, this is your only function. This is why you're here. You may think that you're here to be a good husband, a good wife, a good daughter, a good person, a good accountant, a good blah, 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 blah. To amass material wealth and possessions, to have specialness, to have power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. You may think that's why you're here, to get as much as you can before you die. Okay? Or you may think you're here to become special in some way. More beauty, more power, fame, money, or the least. But it says your only function here on earth is to use the practices, use the curriculum of release from guilt, to release others from guilt, that you might be released from guilt, that you might realize and remember that you are one with Source. All life, all love, all energy. Wow. That is your only function on earth, and you must learn that it is all you want to learn. I gotta learn that that's all I want to learn. That's true. I still think that I want to learn how to get some more. Get some more. More or something. More than others. More. I still think that I'm trying to learn how to get more power, fame, money, and physical pleasure and specialness. Okay? But it's saying, that's why he's saying you need to learn that that's all you want to learn. I still haven't even accepted that release from guilt is all I want to learn. Okay? All right.
Hence why this takes a lot of practice.
That's why it takes, that's, just remember how thick that book is?
If you answer the question, yes, I want to learn what forgiveness means, then you're really asking to have every situation that's going to test your forgiveness come right.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
I'm the one that always said that. I'm sorry.
That's interesting you would say that, because my New Year's resolution this year was, I want to forgive.
And what was the first day like?
And let me tell you something. We're not even out of January yet. The first week, all of my grievances, boom.
Oh, thank you, God.
Boom, boom, boom. And I was just like, oh, thank God. I was like, oh, of course. I said, I'm determined to forgive. I want to forgive this year. I mean, forgive it all, to let my forgiveness rest on everyone and everything.
The big forgive.
Yeah, the big forgive, the big F. F you. That's what the whole new means, F you. It's like, the good F you.
The other F you.
The other F you. Forgive you.
There's my girl.
Yeah. What finger would that be? You know, it's not this finger. What would that finger be? Forgive you. Oh, forgive. Thank you. Forgive you. F you. Forgive you. Forgive you. And forgive you. And forgive you. Exactly. And of course, everything was just like one, boom, 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 big grievance after another. You know. And I was saying to Greg, like, oh man, of course. I said I wanted to forgive everything, and then it was just like every freaking grievance. Boom, 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 boom. Thank God I at least remembered that it was because of the goal I had set.
You wanted to answer that last unanswered question.
Exactly, exactly. Do I want to see what I denied because it was the truth? Exactly. All right. Okay. And then, you know, there's these workbook lessons that are so powerful. Forgiveness offers me everything I want. John said, don't do them. Don't do them.
Really
Okay.
asking for
Unless you. John said, don't do those. Yeah. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers me everything I want.
I forgive, you'll disappear.
I will forgive and this will disappear. This is a forgiveness curriculum. That's what A Course in Miracles really actually is. It says, listen, the big stuff, like you're one with God, it don't matter. That'll happen of itself. We don't have to worry about that. Your job is just to learn that you want to learn to forgive.
You want to go through that pain.
You want to
What?
to forgive. Okay. That's our job on earth. Right. Because that's all we got to do. Everything else, because once you've forgiven the illusion, the lie called guilt, called sin, called separation, then you will know that you're one with everything. All the power, all the love, all the eternal life, all the good, all the joy, all the creativity. You'll know that. That's what's on the other side of our grievances. Of course, A Miracle says that our grievances is the shield that we hold up against reality. The reality that you have it all the time, and you could never lose it, you can never be without it, and you can never die. That's reality. And our grievances where we're like, you're guilty, or I'm guilty. That's the shield we hold up so that we don't see and that we don't experience the reality of having it all forever. No lack.
And speaking from common experience, similar experiences in January, I believe a key lesson here is, despite all of the resistance and the pushback we get from the ego when we make that decision, if you keep going,
Yes.
it's like that fear of going within. The first thing you see is all these really ugly thoughts and
Yes.
stuff. But if you keep
Going.
you will
Yes.
eventually get past the muddy water.
That's exactly right. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. So that, and this month was a great example. After I made that declaration that that's all I want to learn this year, and all those old grievances, boom, 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 started coming up. My life just kept getting better and better and more abundant and more abundant and more fun and more dreams come true. It just, no matter what old grievances were coming up, and my life still kept getting better and better and better. So thank you for saying that. It's the goal of learning that enables the learning to happen of itself. My only function is to have that goal. My only function is to want to learn only how to forgive, And it's not like it's in learning how to forgive just as like, I just want to accept what's so. And what is so? Guiltlessness. Our Creator did not create creations that could turn bad. Our Creator did not create creations that were sinful at birth.
Not even some of them?
Not even, nope, nope. Not even some of them, not even one of them. And not even you.
Well, let's hope it's not even one, or it could be me.
Yes, exactly. If it could be one, that means it's going to be you. Exactly. So it's just saying that forgiveness is not like, well, I forgive you for what you did. Forgiveness just means I've now allowed, what does it say? I've allowed, restored what always was to my unforgiving mind. I realized, I accepted the truth, that there is no sin. There is no sin. Yeah, you can make mistakes. That's obvious. We can all make mistakes, choosing fear over love. But that doesn't change who we are from something guiltless and beautiful and holy to something bad and sinful and wrong that deserves punishment. So we're just asking to learn the truth and to accept the truth once and for all. Okay? All right. So remember that just because we say there is no sin and there is no guilt, it's not saying that we don't make mistakes. Okay? You can be mistaken in what you think is real and true. You can be mistaken where you decide, well, I'm going to choose fear instead of love because fear will keep me safe. And I'm going to choose to attack because that will keep me safe more than love. You certainly can make all kinds of mistakes like that and then have all the effects from choices like that. Oh, you think fear and attack is going to protect you? Is going to keep you safe? Great. Well, here you go. Here's some attack and here's some more fear. How do you feel now? Okay? We can definitely make mistakes in choosing fear and attack over love. Okay? And experience the effects of that. But that doesn't mean that it has changed who and what we are or they are or reality is. Okay? Reality, our core essence. Our core essence, their core essence remains guiltless, innocent, as it was created by Source.
That's our ticket out of unhappiness.
And that's the ticket out of any unhappiness. That's the ticket out of any unhappiness, according to A Course in Miracles.
If you want to get out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're having a great time in hell, then that's great.
It can be exciting.
Exactly. It can be exciting. It definitely produces a lot of adrenaline.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. But adrenaline is not joy.
That's what was so hard to learn.
I know. Adrenaline was not being alive. Adrenaline is not pleasure. All right. So, how we doing here? All right. Hi, Kwana. Hi, Michael. Michael says, is my anger offering me what I want and need? That's a great question. Is it protecting you? Exactly. I love it. And Demi says, F you, ha. Hi, Carla. F you.
Oh, we know what that means.
That's right, exactly. Well, F you, F you, F you, F you.
I sure do want to.
All right. Okay. So then it says this. It says you will feel guilty till you learn this. Till I learn what? That forgiveness is all I want to learn. Okay, here we are. What is Earth? It's a school. This is Earth school.
It's a good place to be because it's the only thing it teaches.
Exactly. And the only thing worth learning here at Earth School is forgiveness. That's why we're here in Earth School. Okay? And you don't graduate from here, by the way, until you forgive. The Course in Miracles says that Earth is not left by death. Sorry.
Jesus got out of here by forgiving the world.
Yeah, but he didn't, but he...
Did you ever hear that, John? You can't leave this place by death.
Yeah.
I have never heard that either.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
The Course, yes, uh-huh. It says that you don't leave here by death.
By waiting.
Mm-mm.
Just buy a return
You just
ticket.
recycle. You just come on back.
We were talking about this before class, and how can you leave where you are?
How can you get
How
more
can you
dead
leave?
than this?
By dying?
Exactly. Exactly. You can't leave the world of death by dying.
Yeah.
You're just
But you
doing
take it back.
more of the same.
You can't try a different planet.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
Another word.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
Your
then,
imagination, sure.
but if this place is a place of guilt and your body dies, but you still have guilt, well, you're gonna come back into a body in a place of guilt.
Even if it's in another planet.
Even if it's
Still gonna
another
be a different
planet.
Might even be
Exactly.
worse than this one, with even worse.
Exactly. We don't want to take no chances. We don't take no
No.
chances.
Don't think those thoughts.
I'll take the death
I have to
already.
get
Exactly. We'll take the death and hell. We already know.
I'm plenty experienced with this place.
Yes, I remember telling my kid that when she was about 8, and she was crying because one of her animals died again, and again she had so dramatic all the time. I was like, one,
Goldfish, gerbils,
it's so bad.
2
She's
cats.
like, I want another pet, and I'm like, no, I cannot handle it anymore.
handle
We're still in
another
therapy
death.
from the last pet. And I remember telling her, we were talking about death, and I'm like, yeah, this is the place where, where you come to learn that, that you cannot die. I was like, and you don't stop coming back here until you forgive. And so forgiving, once you forgiving is the only way to graduate.
Then I need to learn to forgive.
You want to graduate? I want to graduate. I don't want to come back here and do kindergarten. I don't want to do birth again. I don't
That's
want to do
not
birth
what
again.
we
Thank
need.
God I don't remember that. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do grade school again. I don't want to do high school again. Don't want to do adolescence again. I would like to graduate. Course in Miracles says the only way you graduate from this experience where death seems real is through forgiveness. Okay, the dream where death and sickness and suffering and war and lack seems real, where you seem to lose who you love, that is a world that comes from the belief in sin. That is the world that comes from the belief in guilt. Okay, I don't want to experience a world like that anymore. It hurts. It's terrifying. I sure as hell don't like that my child is here in a world like that. That's the worst part about it for me. It'd be one thing if I was here, hell, and it was just me, but my kid is here. And my loved ones' kids are here. And so and so he says, I've got to learn that forgiveness is all I want to learn.
So if you're on the way to trying to do some of this, which we kind of all are at certain times, right? And then gone from the planet for whatever reason, and you didn't maybe quite get far enough, I'm wondering, okay, you still have to come back and go from where you left off?
Well,
Because I'm thinking of Andy and other, just trying to figure that out. How does that work? And maybe didn't even have a chance to discover this part of.
The Course in Miracles says that some people wake up and forgive at point of physical death.
Yep.
Okay. I've
They
never
go,
heard of
oh, there is no sin. That was a bad joke I played on myself. I forgive. Boop. They go on. Okay, the Course in Miracles says you can either learn it at point of physical death, or you can learn it now through the workbook. I remember when it says that in the workbook. It says many people realize upon physical death that this was a dream of death, a dream of sin, and it was just a dream. And they go on.
Either way, it's worth studying this.
And the Course in Miracles, but you could also, or you could learn it through the workbook. It literally says that in the workbook. You could learn that lesson without physical death through this curriculum. So, it's your choice. Yeah, but a lot of people do learn it. As soon as they exit their body, they go, oh, I'm not my body. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, and that whole thing about guilt and sin, that was a joke. That was a mistake. That was a lie that we all believed and then suffered from. I get it. And they go on. And they're like, oh, and I get it, so I don't need to go back to do it. I get it now. Okay. So then they move along in their evolution.
Basically what you've been saying, to get that God cannot err, creation cannot err in its creation.
Yes.
It doesn't have a blemish.
Exactly. Just like if you're a parent with their child, like with my child. I know my child can be mistaken. She's a teenager. She got a teenage brain. She's half crazy half the time. She got a teenage hormonal brain. But I, as her parent, I know her soul is good. Just because my kid makes her crazy teenage mistakes doesn't mean I'm like, sinner! I don't see her soul as dark and sinful, like she needs to atone. I see her soul as pure love. I know the nature of my child is pure love that isn't affected at all just because she made a crazy teenage mistake. Same thing with us. And forgiveness is the awareness of that fact, that truth. Forgiveness is not like, well, you know what you did. I'm going to try to overlook it because I'm a good person. I'm a good Course in Miracles person. I'm a good Christian. I'm a good Jew, whatever. Forgiveness is I accept the truth. I accept the facts. That just because we made mistakes doesn't mean we're guilty. Doesn't mean sin is real. All right. So, how are we doing on time? Okay, great. So it says, you'll feel guilty till you learn that learning how to forgive is all you want to learn. Because in the end, whatever form it takes, your guilt arises from your failure to fulfill your function in love's mind with all of your mind. What? Your guilt, whatever form it arises, comes because you're failing to fulfill your function. Your function. What's your function? Release from guilt. Learning that forgiveness is all you want to learn. That's your only function. And so when you're feeling guilty, you're not choosing to fulfill your function. You're like, no, I'm not going to fulfill my function. I'm not going to do my job. I'm not going to do what I was born here, what I came here to do. That's what guilt is. It's saying, I'm not going to fulfill my function of what? Forgiving, of releasing from guilt. And it says, can you escape this guilt by failing to fulfill your function here? It says, you need not understand creation or truth to do what must be done before that knowledge will be meaningful. God breaks no barriers, neither did God make barriers. When you release barriers, barriers are gone. God didn't make barriers between us, each other, and us and God, and us and other creatures. God didn't make any barriers. I'm God, you're not. You're John, I'm Anna. God didn't make any barriers. God didn't make any barriers. And when we release barriers, then they'll be gone.
And territories.
What do you say?
And territories.
And territories. And what are barriers? The barriers that we make between us and Source and all of life as one with us and each other that makes for war and separation and everything that comes from that is guilt. Guilt is the barrier that we put between ourselves, each other, all of life, and Source. The Course says guilt made the body. Guilt, the body is a barrier. That's what the body is, according to A Course in Miracles. It's a guilt barrier. It's like a guilt barrier, that we made to be a barrier between us and God. Well, we can't be one because my body. And we can't be one because of what your body did, and we can't be one because of what my body did, and we can't be one because of your body.
And the body demonstrates it can be hurt.
Yes.
It can lack. It can have
Yes.
pain.
That's exactly right.
What God created can demonstrate all these attributes.
Exactly, thank you. Yeah, the body was made to make guilt seem real. Just like, well, yeah, well, my body's hurt. So obviously guilt is real. Obviously sin is real. My body hurts. My body is sick. My body died. You know, that is, we made the body to be the proof of sin. Sin is real because you killed my body. They killed their body. That hurt the. You know, that's, according to the Course, what the body was made to do. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. It could be the proof of love. It could be the witness to forgiveness. And the Course in Miracles says that the body that is no longer used as proof of sin and guilt, look what you did to me. You know, my suffering in my body is proof of your sin. When we're no longer using our bodies like that, then the body becomes a beautiful lesson in communion. Instead of an ugly, sick, hurt witness to what you did to me. Wow. When we stop making the body the witness to sin, the witness to guilt, then the body just becomes a beautiful lesson in communion. A beautiful demonstration of oneness, of connection, of unity, and innocence. That's what I'm going for. All right. And it says, God didn't make any barriers, He doesn't break them because He didn't make them. When you release the barriers, they're gone. God will not fail, nor ever has in anything. All right. Beautiful. Okay, now questions or comments. What comes up for you as you hear these ideas today? Questions, comments. How does it feel to hear these ideas? How does it feel to hear these ideas? I love it. Carla says, I'm ready to let my fearful thoughts be purified. Thank you. Renew. But what about the pains one feels during death? Very interesting question. According to what we heard tonight in this renew, the pain comes from guilt. Okay? Pain comes from guilt. So, according to A Course in Miracles, forgiveness is also the answer to pain. Whether it's pain that you have when you have a cold or pain that you have when you're experiencing physical death. Okay? So the Course in Miracles is teaching us how to use the truth of guiltlessness as the cure, as the healing and the cure for all the suffering that we go through. All the suffering, all of it. Forgiveness offers me everything I want. Forgiveness is the key to salvation, the key to healing. Forgiveness is the key to healing. Forgiveness is the key to the release from pain and sickness, even unto death. So thank you for asking that question. Kwana says, feels great. Yes. And Bridget says, it feels great to know I am guiltless. There is no condemnation. Yes, it does. It feels good.
A timely reminder.
Timely reminder. Thank you. Absolutely. Wow. Yes.
So what right now in my life do I really need to focus and get forgiven that's keeping me from being able to be happy in that situation? What person, place, or event right now in my life is bothering me so much that I can't have any love around it, I can't have anything around that, because I need to learn to forgive that. And I already know what mine is, what y'all's.
Yeah.
Mine came up like that. I
Mhm.
don't know if yours came up like that, but that's what's standing in the way of you being happy.
That's right.
It's something personal. You know what it is. It's personal. It's highly personal. It's somebody.
Yeah.
You need to work on them right now. You don't want to be imprisoned by that feeling another
Yes.
day of your life, and you have to have gotten to the point where I'm so tired of condemning that I want to learn more than anything how to forgive it. Because until you have that much passion about it, you ain't forgiving nothing. And I know you're ready today. You're ready tonight. This young lady here's going to take you there in just a little while, give you an opportunity to take that event and work it. Because if you don't want to work it, why are you here?
Yeah.
And you know the event I'm talking about. You know the person I'm talking about.
That's
I know
right.
mine.
Yep.
I can already cry over it.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this 45 years. It's a constant working.
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, hey, that belief system called shame and condemnation and sin and guilt, it goes way back.
Just rereading chapter 2 this weekend, and talks about how, in the section called The Last Judgment, talks about how it took millions of years
Yes.
for the separation to get to where we are now.
Which means it took millions of years for the idea of sin and guilt to evolve to the point where we are now. You know, where we're like, where we've allowed the idea of sin and guilt and condemnation to evolve to the point where, is our planet gonna make it much longer? You know, that's the result of the idea of condemnation evolving for millions of years without mankind going, hey, that idea of sin, get it. F you, sin. F you, guilt. That was no more. Okay? It's been taking millions of years for us to get to the point where we're like, oh no, man, that idea of sin has resulted in us almost like being suicidal and like killing our planet that we live on, that our bodies are dependent on. That's the result of the millions of years of the idea of condemnation evolving. So it stops here now. That's why you're here. That's your function. That's your job as a teacher, as a healer of mankind, as somebody who's here to be part of the healing of mankind, instead of just another polluter of the planet, a polluter of mankind. And here we are. Okay, what more holy function could you have? Wow. And it says, when you feel guilty, it's because you forgot your function, forgot your job as healer of mankind. Okay? And it says your higher mind is always within your mind and your heart saying, are you ready yet? Are you ready? Are you ready yet to take your place among the healers? Are you ready yet to take your place among the healers of mankind? How about today? How about today? We're like, no, I'm very busy. I've had a bad day. Okay. And then our higher mind the next day. How about today?
I've got a date.
I've got a date. I gotta get ready. I'm busy. All right. And then they come back in your higher mind again the next day. How about today?
Found my soulmate.
Yes.
So, I continue to go through the Rancher book, and what's really interesting to me is the discussion around the concept of God and how it evolved from
Yes,
angry God
yes.
back in the old days.
Yes.
And the apostles are very confused by all
Yes.
of this. I never drew that distinction as growing up in the Catholic religion. I mean, all this stuff about we need to fear God,
Yeah.
an angry God, and it's a
Yes.
complete opposite message what he was trying to teach. And then this comes along and it's as pure as it can be.
Pure.
But there's so many power structures, I think, invested in
Yes. Our whole
fear, guilt,
Yes.
shame,
our whole
condemnation.
our whole planet has been covered in that belief in sin and condemnation, and we projected it onto God. The idea of condemnation came from us, and we just projected it right onto God, as if God is a wrathful God. And I was raised in Judaism, same thing, wrathful God, angry God, whole big old book of rules, you know, for how you can atone for how guilty you are. You know, so if that's the one problem, and release from guilt and guiltlessness is the one answer to the healing of mankind and the planet, then who would be more needed at this time than us? Us who say, forgiveness is all I want to learn. It didn't say you had to know how to master it. It said you just had to want to learn it. Who would be more needed on earth at this time? Who? Than us, than you. Who? Okay? And the Course in Miracles is saying, look, if you say, okay, I'm willing to take my part in the healing of mankind, I don't know how to forgive, but I'm willing to learn and I want to learn, then you better believe that you will be supported. You will go on cosmic scholarship. The universe, who is interested in healing mankind and the planet, will help you. Why? Because finally you've said, I want to help the world. I want to help mankind. I don't want to be part of the problem anymore, putting more sin and guilt on the planet. I want to release from guilt the whole planet, everyone, everything. The universe will support you. What do you need? What do you want? Here you go. We're going to help you. The Course says the whole world will bow before you and offer you its resources, offer you its support. And that is what life then will feel like after you've said, I want to learn how to forgive, and that's why I'm here, and that's all I want to learn. The Course in Miracles says, once that is really your goal and purpose, you will experience something wild. The Course in Miracles describes it like this. You will experience life as if you are being carried down a quiet path in the summer, where the flowers will give you their fragrance, the trees will give you their shade. That's how you'll experience the world. And I am down for some of that. How would you like to experience the world like that? Like a friendly place that's glad you're here, that's here to help you. Anybody up for that?
Yes.
I am. All right. Okay. You guys up for that? I know you are. I love it. Beautiful. Okay. So guys, now we're going to do our love offering. We're going to do announcements. And then we're going to do our 2-minute integration meditation where we take the ideas and we use them. All right. So thank you for your love offerings. Thank you guys. If you would like to make a financial expression of appreciation to my Miracles Ministry, then go to my website, annakujawa.com, and look for the services we offer page, and there are PayPal buttons. And you could just go to PayPal and put in my email or my phone number, which you can find on my website. I am a holistic psychotherapist, and I have a psychotherapeutic niche called Miracle Psychotherapeutics, where I use my psychotherapeutic skills as a professional counselor for Course in Miracles students who are going through something, but they would like some psychotherapeutic support, but from a Course in Miracles perspective. If you would like to have a one-on-one session with me, then go to my website, annakujawa.com, find my phone number, and text me. Text me. That's the best way to reach me, okay? I do 2 live streams a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. They are both live streamed on Facebook at this time. I'm in the process of getting all my Facebook classes over to YouTube. Go to YouTube if you would like to find my classes. And they're easier to access from YouTube. Go over there and like and subscribe so that soon I can do YouTube Live, okay? I'm trying to get to YouTube Live, so it's just easier to organize my videos and classes like that. So, okay. Any other questions before we do our integration meditation? All right. Thank you guys for your participation. Thank you guys for your participation and bringing your bodies out here on this cold winter night. I really appreciate it. All right, so now we're going to do the integration meditation, and here we just close our eyes and breathe, and we are going to use the ideas. Okay? We've been talking about them, and now we're going to use them. So, if you are not driving, I want you guys to close your eyes as well and take a breath and breathe and feel. How do these ideas feel in your mind and in your heart? How do these ideas feel in your body? Beautiful. Now, I want you to bring to your awareness a situation, event, or relationship where there is pain, where there is fear, where there is anger, where there's anything going on but peace and joy and love. I want you to bring that situation or relationship into your awareness and take a breath. Beautiful. Now I want you to look into that situation, event, or relationship as if you had X-ray vision, and I want you to look into it, and I want you to see that beneath and underneath all those painful emotions is a feeling of guilt. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with them. A belief in sin. A feeling of shame. A projection of judgment. And take a breath. And now I want you to now tune in to the voice for truth and the voice for healing within yourself, your higher mind, the divine spark of truth within you. And I want you to ask for help in learning to release from guilt. Ask for help to see the fact of their guiltlessness or your guiltlessness. I ask, higher mind, that what is already in my mind be restored to my awareness. I ask for help in seeing the truth of their guiltlessness. That as they were created by love, they are not guilty. They are not a sinner. And I ask for help, higher mind, spirit of truth within me. I ask for help in accepting my own guiltlessness, and ask for help in accepting their guiltlessness. I ask for help in seeing the truth of guiltlessness in this situation, in this person, in me. I want to see. Above all else, I want to see the truth of their guiltlessness and mine. I do not know how, or else I would have seen it already. I need help. I'm asking to learn how to forgive in this situation, in this relationship, this person and myself. Show me what it means, teacher. And take a breath. And then I want you to say this to yourself. Even if you don't believe it, try it out, see what happens. I want you to tell yourself, my only function in this relationship, and my only function in this situation right now is to learn that forgiveness is all I want to learn. That's why I'm in this relationship. That's why I'm in this situation. That's why I'm here on earth right now. That's what this is about. That's what this is for. I just remembered what this is really for, what this is really about, why I'm here at this time, in this relationship, in this body, on earth at this time. I just remembered what it's for. And so we say, higher mind, spirit of truth, please help me fulfill my function in this relationship, on this earth, in this situation of learning that forgiveness is all I want to learn. This is a prayer that can never, ever go unanswered. This is a request that cannot be unanswered. Because now you're asking for the one thing that really is what you're here for. And then, in closing, tell yourself the truth. I am the healing of the world. I am the light of the world. I am here for the healing of the earth and all of its creatures. That's why I'm here. Let me be about my job, my one and only function on earth at this time. Forgiveness is my function as light of the world. It's my only function. That's why I'm here. Beautiful. And take a breath. Awesome. And then just bring your awareness back to the room and back to your body. Yawning and stretching. Awesome. Good work. Give it up for yourselves for fulfilling your function on earth. It's a miracle. Good job, everybody. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys watching on Facebook. And don't forget to share this on your Facebook feed as well, that it might extend out to the world. And don't forget to go to my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much.